A white Pomeranian named Fluffy flew out of a fifth floor window in Panna, which was a brand new building with the painter's scaffolding still around it. Fluffy screamed in a little lapdog voice all the way down, like a little white kettle losing steam, bounced off the bonnet of his yellow and skidded to a halt near the rank of schoolgirls waiting for the St. Mary's convent bus. There was remarkably little blood, but the sight of Fluffy's brains did send the conventeers into hysterics. And meanwhile, above the man who had swung Fluffy around his head by one leg, who had slung Fluffy into the void, one Mr. Mahesh Pandey of Mirage Textiles. That man was leaning on his windowsill and laughing. Mrs. Kamla Pandey, who, in talking to Fluffy, always spoke of herself as Mummy, now staggered and ran to her kitchen and plucked from the magnetic holder a knife 9 inches long and 2 wide. When Sartaj and Katekar broke open the door in apartment 502, Mrs. Pandey was standing in front of the bedroom door, looking intensely at a dense circle of 2-inch long wounds in the wood, about chest high. As Sartaj watched, she sighed, raised her hand, and stabbed the door again. She had to struggle with both hands on the handle to get the knife out. Mrs. Pandey, Sartaj said. She turned to them, the knife still in a double-handed grip, held high. She had a pale, tear-stained face and tiny bare feet under her white nightie. Mrs. Pandey, I'm Inspector Sartaj Singh, Sartaj said. I'd like you to put down that knife, please. He took a step, hands held up and palms forward. Please, he said. But Mrs. Pandey's eyes were wide and blank, and except for the quivering of her forearms, she was quite still. The hallway they were in was narrow, and Sartaj could feel Katekar behind him, wanting to pass. Sartaj stopped moving. Another step, and he would be comfortably away within the swing of the knife. Guess who's back with a new video? And yes, what a way to start the BookTube journey yet again with an extract from the crime thriller genre. The very first books that we touched on this channel. And this novel from the homeland is arguably the best piece of crime writing spanning decades. Very Jeffrey Archerish if you ask from me. And yes, it's me, Prithu Shandilya, the co-founder of BookTube, back after a long time. I hope you are up to date with the socials. The links will be up on your screen and the video description. And I hope you guys are following us through this. Now let's move on to the second extract from this book. DCP Anjali Mathur had an interest in the crime overlord, and she was looking for details, but Sartaj had none to give her. He looked blandly at her and waited. Finally, she spoke. What about the dead woman? Do you know her? No, madam, I don't know who she is. I wrote that in the report. Unknown female. Do you actually have any idea who she can be? There was Katekar's ready theory, but it was based on nothing more substantial than the dead woman's clothes. Sartaj had seen the same clothes at some very expensive clubs in the city, so he replied with a very firm, no, madam. Are you sure? Yes, madam. She was skeptical, steady in her evaluation of him, and he bore her examination evenly. He felt her come to a decision. Inspector, I need you to do some work for us. But first, you need to know that we are not the CBI. We are with the RAW. But this information is only for you. Nobody else needs to know it. Is that clear? It was not at all clear why RAW, the famed research and analysis wing, with its covert mystique and its exotic reputation, should be sitting here in Parulkar's office. Ganesh Gaitonde was a big criminal, so yes, the Central Bureau of Investigation should be investigating him. That made sense. But RAW? Wasn't RAW supposed to fight foreign enemies of the state outside the Indian borders? Why were they here, interested in Kailash Pada? And this Anjali Mathur was an unlikely international secret agent. But perhaps that was the point. She had a round face, smooth, fair skin. There was no sindoor in her hair, but women no longer signaled their happily married state. Sartaj's ex-wife never had it. Sartaj had the uneasy feeling of wading into swiftly pulling waters, of being spun by completely unknown currents. And so, he practiced Parulkar's principle of polite, sarkari obsequiousness. Yes, madam, he said, very clear. And we come to an end of this session, an enticing start to the book. Well, you must have guessed it already. The book is none other than Sacred Games, authored by Vikram Chandra and published in 2006 by HarperCollins India. Available for a price of 200 rupees on Amazon.in. The links will be in the description, and you can also check out more from the author on www.booktube.in. The thrill of the story can be categorized by the picking up of the plot, when the police officer Sartaj Singh receives an anonymous tip about the location of the criminal overlord Ganesh Gaitonde. He embarks on a chase around Mumbai in what becomes a dangerous cat and mouse game. And amidst the chaos, trappings of a corrupt underworld are revealed, and a threat looms amongst all of this. So this is a definite thriller. And it's a very lexically dense book, very well written with subtle nuances, and this book is a definite read from my side. Top of the list. It has also been adapted into a 2-season series too under the same flagship, The Sacred Games, and has an amazing cast of Nawazuddin Siddiqui and Saif Ali Khan. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It's free of cost and you can always change your mind. And thank you for sticking with me. It's been a long time, but yes, we'll be more consistent with uploads. Stay tuned and keep enjoying books. A happy week ahead from my side. Cheers and namaste. This is Prithu Shandilya, the co-founder of BookTube,